So you want to be a crypto miner? Well, you've come to the right place. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with fellow crypto miner, entrepreneur, and crypto investor, your friend Andy, to discuss, well, what we wish we knew before becoming crypto miners. So you want to be a crypto miner? Well, you've come to the right place. Joining me today, as I said, was your friend Andy. How's it going, Andy?
Super great. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's Saturday afternoon, hanging out with a fellow crypto miner. I can't complain one bit. So as we start to kind of slowly get into this bull market, I know it's very undefined right now. Bull market, bear market, where are we right now in February of 2024? We have a lot of new blood coming into the scene. We have those friends hitting us up like, hey, I want to be a crypto miner too. Let's step into this. And I know for a fact that this could very much be part one, part two, this could be an extensive series, but we'll keep it at a high level the best we can for our new friends coming into the scene. So you're approached by your friend that says, hey Andy, I want to be a crypto miner just like you. Where do we start the conversation?
I mean, they can go any number of directions. I will say, if this person is talking to me now, I will give them a little pat on the back. I'll give them a little kudos because, 3 to 6 months ago might have been an even sweeter time to get in, but now is a better time than 6 to 18 months from now when we're in peak bull run.
Yep.
So top advice, if you're going to start on this journey, start now. Now is still not too late. Don't wait until Bitcoin is over $100,000 and making new all-time highs and going crazy, because at that point you're going to pay 5x, 10x for the same hardware, and the chances of you actually breaking even and making your money back on that will be just diminishing ever so much. So now is a great time. Still not too late. And I would say the number one thing I would do is just start learning about the landscape of crypto, because I mean, you can mine with GPUs, you can mine on your cell phone, you can mine with these big boy ASICs, you can host, there's 1,000 different ways you can do this thing. So maybe it's a good starting place is to do a little bit of research and go, okay, where do I personally feel some conviction in terms of where my dollar will be best spent with sectors or narratives or trends that I'm going to see in the future. Might be a good place to start.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad that you started off the recommendation talking about timing, because this is a cycle. Bear market, bull market, and I even remember coming into the scene not really fully understanding that. I just came in and I could plug in anything and it was worth, I was making money. I mean, It was, and I've gone through my first cycle. So timing, as Andy had said, the sooner you get in, the better. And it's never too late in that regard, because things will cycle back around. If you guys are not familiar, it's an every so many years cycle is the way that things are looking at. So keep that in mind as you start to jump into it. Another thing Andy had touched on, which I really like, is research. And you don't need to go crazy. How I did my research is just YouTube videos. There are so much more content creators now than there were when I first got started just a few years ago. And there's so many avenues or paths you can go. When I first got into it, it was Ethereum mining with GPUs was really big. And ASICs were there here and there, but now it's really changed. You have, as you said, CPU mining, you got DPIN, you got these weather things, you got these helium miner things, you got these things you plug in your car. It's holy cow, we have come so far when it comes down to different methods to participate in crypto mining. And like you and I both we both like to invest as well. That's also another avenue of getting into crypto that I've tapped into recently, is crypto mining and crypto investing at the same time. So never rule anything out in that regard. So Andy, your friend's interested. He's doing some of his research. He's looking out there. What would you say going the crypto mining route is maybe not the best hardware avenue to go at first? And what do you think is more a better avenue to go? So what to stay away from maybe, and what to kind of maybe is a good starting point. Today's video is sponsored by the team over at altairtech.io. I was in the market to purchase one of the newest generation Bitcoin miners, and Altair Tech had exactly what I was looking for. The Bitmain Antminer S19K Pro, 120 terahash Bitcoin ASIC miner. I ordered from Altair Tech via credit card and was amazed at how easy it was to check out. Within 3 days, I had a brand new Bitmain box sitting at my front door waiting for me. Since then, I've ordered a boatload of mining accessories from their store. The Epic UMC control board, as well as 5 of the Altair Tech 30 amp, 240 volt L6 30P PDUs. Go over and check out altairtech.io today and use promo code @TheHobbyistMiner for a discount at checkout.
Yeah, well, backtracking a second with the education aspect, if only there was a YouTube channel out there where someone was teaching all about crypto mining from, like, I don't know, it's a weird idea, but like the hobbyist perspective. There was, or me. Yeah.
This guy.
But I was meaning you. Yours is a much better channel for education on crypto mining. So, I mean, you can go any which way as a beginner. It depends on how technical you are. But if you're not like a tech savvy person, if you don't like tinkering, if you're not the person who's going to fix a computer or build a computer, then a GPU mining rig might not be the best first thing to do. Or conversely, if you want to like learn the ropes like fully, it might be the best thing to do. But I mean, when it comes to like plug and play, ASIC mining is as simple as it gets. You buy a thing, you plug in one like little bit of URL for your pool address and stuff, and then you're off to the races. Even better if you work with a hosting company and they do all that stuff for you. But it's going to be more cost prohibitive than GPU mining, because you can start with you can start with your gaming computer at your house and just run some software on it and start mining. So actually, that might be a recommendation just to see how it functions. Download NiceHash or something on your home computer, run it and see what it tells you, and then go, okay, I'm doing this now. What does this mean? What's happening behind the scenes? Am I actually making any money? What would happen if I put a second GPU in here? What would happen if I did a second build that was 6 GPUs or 8 or 12 or whatever? I don't know, just some kind of exploratory first step is interesting. But yeah, there is a definite like scale of easier to use than a little bit more technical and more tinkering and ongoing maintenance required.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we naturally, like, as miners into it now, we kind of sometimes forget, like, going back to the basics of, like, man, a GPU mining rig, for those that know how to build computers, is like a go-to. It's very versatile. You can mine a little bit of everything almost. But at the same time, we have to remember that, like, I talk to a lot of people that are like, I want to get into mining and I know nothing about technology. And it's like, I'm not going to go tell you to buy all these little parts and this plugs into this. And this is like exactly what you had said. So I do like the avenue you recommended, things like NiceHash or Unmineable you can install on your machine, as well as, I think, and some people may disagree with this avenue, but I like this avenue because right now is a great time to buy these little box miners or these little iPolo or gold shell miners. And very quickly, I'm going to have comments down below. They're like, don't buy them. They're not very profitable. They only earn you cents. I get it, but they're very inexpensive right now. They teach you the fundamentals of setting it up, what a pool is, what a wallet is, as well as, how to store your crypto. Like, all of that is stepping stones. We kind of forget as, content creators or people that have been in the scene for several years, like, you got to start with those basics and those building blocks. And those little things you could plug into a wall outlet. You don't need to hire an electrician to come in and do all this work. It's like plug into a wall outlet, just like Andy said, plug in a few cables and get started. So yeah, there's very basic ones out there. Like iPolos are great. I actually recommended this the other day to someone. An iPolo is an Ethereum Classic miner that you could put on Unmineable and then build your bags very easily with a variety of different coins. Unmineable, if you guys aren't familiar, is a platform that lets you mine into and exchange things on the fly, just hands off real quick into different projects, which is, I think, is a great avenue to go.
My ETC hash, iPolo, a little 400 mega hash unit, I've been running it for probably a year now, and it's been on Octaspace for a big portion of that. And so now it's made, like, I don't know, $4,000 or something. I mean, yeah, speculative mining is where, or another, that's a great suggestion what you just said, but even like toss in the Ice River KS0 Pro.
Yeah.
Super low wattage. It's like $500 or something. What is your break even time? Less than a year right now? No, but US dollar wise, can you put in $500 and probably earn more than $500 over the next year if Caspa takes off? Heck yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of low power options that are great, that won't break the bank, that also, like you said, are just like a really solid way to learn, just see how it all functions and stuff. But I also want to backtrack for 1 second.
Please.
Like, either way you go, any which way you go, there's money making opportunities. I've literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars mining crypto. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars with GPU mining rigs, and I've made 6 figures plus now with ASICs. Now the ASICs, though, I've spent 6 figures on. So it's much more expensive. Whereas my GPUs, I've never spent more than $20,000 all told with all my GPUs, and they've made me these kind of multiples. But the point is, both can make you serious money, and I've personally lived that. One, though, is slightly more economical if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, the tinkering, but also, which we both do quite a bit of, which is speculatively mining. Not just picking what the most profitable thing is, not picking the most popular, finding stuff that as it's launched, you mine it, and then it hits exchanges, you move on to the next one, you just build up a bunch of bags, and then 9 out of 10 of those amount to jack squat, and then one of them is like money honey. It's a beautiful way to do it.
Money honey, I love it. That's gonna be the title of my video, money honey. So a great point there. And I think, I don't want to scare away beginners stepping in where it's like, oh, you're hearing numbers like $20,000 or $30,000. And then of course, the other side of it, you hear the attractive numbers. Oh, 100,000. Oh, like that's awesome. I get it. But if you're stepping into crypto, a great thing that Andy has led us into is don't chase the most profitable thing, because it's going to be the hardest to mine. So Bitcoin is a phenomenal example of that. You kind of need some pretty heavy duty hardware to be making really anything with Bitcoin. And it's not a great starting point. I mean, Andy started very early on with very basic hardware. I started with 2 GPUs, and you kind of step into it slowly. I wouldn't say try to get to the finish line right away with like massive amounts of money, with spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff. If you're in that boat, I don't know if this video is directly for you. You're probably looking at a much more bigger investment. But what I would say is that as you get into it, and I think I'm glad you brought this up, Andy, is the fact of the value of mining something that is speculative. And kind of what that means is it's worth, if you guys are new, fractions of a penny. It's almost brand new. That's always the best time to get into these projects, because you can build a bag of it and approach it not chasing profit. I think that's the best way. Come into this with just I want to learn something new. I want to build some crypto bags, and down the road, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but down the road, keep an eye on it. It could balloon, and all of a sudden, you're sitting on a decent amount of cash. Would you agree with kind of that from a speculative perspective?
Yeah, so I think that is one of the things I love about GPU mining is, you don't have to spend, the low side, what I said, my example, 20,000. My first mining rig was back in 2014, but when I really got into it in 2 cycles ago, my first rig was, I don't know, $1,500 or whatever, and that was just me buying multiple cards. You can buy just one single GPU for a couple $100 and start there. You might already have one. Yeah. And the beauty is those things can turn into real money. Or another example is I bought a used ASIC off Craigslist 2 bear markets ago. Mine Pirate Chain, that one made me 6 figures and that thing cost $200 used on Craigslist, because the guy was like, it's not profitable on Zcash anymore. He didn't know about Pirate Chain because very few people did. So yeah, I think the takeaway here with speculative mining, which is mining things that aren't mainstream yet, hopefully don't even have a price attached to them yet, is that if you're interested in this stuff and you're willing to poke around and find things, there is a lot of opportunity to be found if you're willing to put in that time and effort. Of course, you can't throw money at the problem and go big and drop 6 figures on Bitcoin miners, and that's a valid way to go. But if you don't have that kind of capital to start with, you can start smaller and still have maybe even bigger success than the person who did that, if you pick the right things. But I think is a really powerful idea and one of my favorite things about mining in general.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think it is mining as you guys are going to step into it, especially now versus where it was. Like when I first came into it, to give people an idea, it was 3 years ago, right around the Dogecoin pump era with Elon Musk. And the whole goal stepping into mining was like, all right, I had a technical background, so GPU mining made sense. You just plug in your GPU and you always put it on Ethereum. There was like one coin you were really mining with your GPUs, so it was easy and done with. Well, jumping now into the beginning of 2024, there's not one coin you're really looking at. It's not like a Bitcoin and Ethereum era. I mean, I've made most of my money, honestly, off of other coins outside of the two of those, because I've done these spec plays that have really paid off down the road. And I want to make sure I point out to the audience too, is like Andy talked about picking up a $200 Zcash miner. His return of 6 figures, how long was that time period between the two of those?
A year and a half.
Yeah. So don't think about buying something and then why am I making 6 figures after I spent $200? Like, why is it instantly happening? Like that is, and just like Andy had said, that project may flop. It may not exist a year and a half from now. It may be worth less. So these are all things you have to consider as a brand new miner coming into the scene with interest kind of jumping into it, which I could totally agree with. So you've been mining for a few months now, let's say. You got yourself on some type of hardware. You've been mining a little bit. Where would you recommend that person goes from there? Where do they go from there? They got their bags. They've just been sitting on it. What's next for these brand new crypto miners?
I mean, I think what you just said, patience is one aspect of something they should be practicing as they do this, because certainly there are quick flips and examples, but most of my money, and I'm going to guess that most of your money with all this stuff has been made over the longer term, where we mine and we hold and we wait. So as you've started mining, you have some bags. You should be practicing your patience as you wait for those bags to hopefully take off, but also constantly scanning and looking for the next opportunity, and then deciding, do you want to expand that? Do you want to go into some other aspect to diversify your crypto passive income portfolio? Do you want to start adding nodes, or do you want to add, if you have GPU miner, do you now want to add some kind of device that's a miner, like a camera or a device in your car or a weather station or an antenna on the side of your house, which none of those are actually miners, to be clear. They're just a device that earns, we call them miners. But, diversifying what your entire portfolio of this crypto earning potential is maybe a good next step. But I think one other point that I would make, this is not something you'd be doing, this is just something you would be trying to have as a mindset with all this before you even get started, and especially once you're already underway. And that is just how dangerous FOMO is, and getting excited about a million different things. I know when I started spending a lot of money on mining, it was at the wrong time. I spent 5x what I probably should have on GPUs and stuff. I was just wanting to get those profits. I wanted to get those returns every day because I was watching videos and seeing all this exciting stuff, and I made some poor decisions. There's going to be 1,000 opportunities for you, even if you miss the 15 in front of you right now. There's going to be 1,000 more after that. Crypto is the land of opportunity. There's no shortage of. For every 10,000x I've missed, I've found some for myself. There's so much opportunity. So I would encourage anybody who's either hasn't started yet or is already underway to just always kind of check yourself and not get too caught up in like, I got to do this, or I don't want to miss out on that, or I got to spend this money, or I got to overextend myself in some capacity, because that's where the entire enterprise of mining, especially when you're spending all this money on hardware and stuff, gets super dicey. So you don't want to find yourself there.
No, I think diversifying is huge. That is a great recommendation as like a next step. I remember for me, GPU mining was everything to me. It was all about it. And then the Ethereum merge occurred, which was an event where you couldn't mine Ethereum anymore. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I got all these GPUs. Now where's the profit coming in? And it was rough at that point in time. So one thing, massive thing I have learned is over the last year and a half is diversifying. And diversifying the hardware, diversifying your projects are super important. But Andy did talk about FOMO there. And I think that's something to look out for, is the fact of every project coming out is the next big thing, is going to be the fastest, is going to make you the most money. It's kind of like those Ponzi schemes. It's like, don't believe any of those at all. But if you do want to, there is a value in kind of being first or getting into something early, because you can yield, and yield is pretty much the amount of coin that you can mine early on when the difficulty or the amount of other people there isn't as many people on a project. There's a huge value to that. And that's why it's great, as Andy had said, doing research, keeping your ear to the ground, looking for a lot of these new projects coming out and going, all right, I could dedicate 1 GPU to that and let that run for a month and build a bag and then move on. I think that is a smart move, diversifying, putting a little bit into it, but not over leveraging yourself, which I think is something that we naturally as humans, we get excited about something like, oh, I heard about this project. It's going to make me 100 grand in 2 weeks. Check this out. It's like, come on, like, let's be honest here. That is definitely not going to be the case at all.
And yeah, one other thing you said that I think is worth repeating, and the idea of diversifying and why, you know, it's so important. Like, to give you a concrete example, last bull run, peak bull run, I believe my entire crypto passive income strategy. So to give some like extra context around that, like a concrete example of why diversification is like so powerful, peak last bull run, all my crypto passive income sources together were making somewhere in the neighborhood of $70,000-$80,000 a month. Okay. And I'm not going to, I'm not saying this to brag or anything, like that was 6 years of build up or whatever. And you're also, this next part is going to sound less exciting, because as the bear market rolled around, as everything crashed back down to earth, I watched that 80,000 a month turn into like 10 to 15,000 a month at its lowest. But my point there is saying what I built up for a while, it turned into something really awesome. It still wasn't half bad, even at the worst of the bear market, because I had so many sources. All my mining sources, my GPU stuff, all dried up in in the bear market. But some of my nodes were still doing halfway okay during that time. Yeah. So it kind of floated the boat a little bit. So while, you know, the entire market was down and stuff, I was still able to have a return just by having I would say it's like 25 to 30 different sources of passive income in the crypto portfolio. Yeah. So it's a little bit scary to watch it go from like 80 to 10 or whatever, but it's also exciting that it doesn't go to zero because of that protection, I guess you call it, of diversification. And I think that's why it's, you know, we keep talking about this and why it's really important to not, you know, once upon a time, hobbyist miner going all in on mining, but now spread out a bit more and is more robust and resistant to those little market fluctuations, which can be scary.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, like I look back over the last few years and I'm like, man, I've really gotten into a little bit of everything. And I think, but at the peak of it, it's been the bear market where I've really diversified the most. Bull market, it was like heads down GPU. The bear market, I mean, I've gone from GPU heavy to, I mean, I've bought in, I think I got my total. I had 1 full-size ASIC during the bull run. I now have 21. So it's like, okay, big difference there on pivoting. And honestly, the ASICs is really what kept me profitable during the bear market. GPUs, not necessarily. However, just like Andy has said, you can't write those off. I still GPU mined some of these spec coins and made thousands off of just these bags that have ballooned as the market has really turned. Found myself into these helium projects and these Dymo car projects and, you know, nodes now. This guy, Andy, you know, got this crazy channel talking about nodes. Now I got multiple nodes running. It's like, man, it is just like we talked about at the top of this video. Do your research, because the crypto mining scene is massive now. There are so many different avenues to make money, which is phenomenal. So I think I'm gonna things off there, but it sounds like Andy's got one more thing. So please, Andy, what do you got?
I just want to say two quick things. Yeah, one, I do totally agree about the diversification in the bear market, but also I love it as a protection in the bear market, but I also love it as an advantage in a bull run, because you don't know if it's going to be this one set of miners you have, or if it's going to be this one node you have, or you don't know what's going to be like the maximal performer in a bull run. So that's another reason why it's good in a bear market, but it's also great in a bull run. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, I do have you beat by 2 ASICs now.
Dang it. I gotta catch up now. This guy, I just bought 2 the other day. This guy, Andy and I have this little thing every once in a while. We're like, bought another ASIC. We just send it back and forth to each other. So, yes, absolutely.
You still have me smoked on GPUs by a long shot. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys joining Andy and I today to talk about just becoming a crypto miner, and hopefully you guys learned something. I mean, this is the type of content I wish I had more of when I stepped into the scene. If you guys enjoyed this and you want to see a part 2, leave a comment down below, because honestly, Andy and I are about 25 minutes in and we could talk for hours on this subject, to be honest with you. So I'm going to leave links to Andy's channel. Andy's got multiple channels now, actually, so I'll leave links to all of those, as well as his Twitter. But other than that, Andy, I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Today's video is sponsored by the team over at Quantum Expeditions. Bitcoin mining can be incredibly profitable, but as most of you know, doing it yourself can be complicated and risky. Unpredictable costs, equipment failures, and high energy costs make it very difficult for regular people to achieve consistent gains, let alone scaling up. Quantum Expeditions makes it easy for retail investors like yourself to participate in the vast opportunities of large-scale Bitcoin mining without ever leaving your house. Join a community where you can contribute your knowledge and feedback or learn from the experience of others. Now, for a limited time, you can invest directly in the company through an exclusive Regulation CF crowdfund and earn from the future growth in the industry. Quantum Expeditions just completed their first deployment of Bitcoin miners, 3 weeks ahead of schedule, so now is an excellent time to get involved. Come check out the Quantum Expeditions link in the description below.